There's a lot going on in the nickel space. This great divide between nickel sulfide, which is the really good primo stuff that goes into the batteries, and nickel laterite, which the Chinese are trying to make it so it can go into batteries. But God, what it's going to do to the environment is just scary. So here to join us today, we have Nickel Creek Platinum. Now they're advancing a project on the good kind of nickel sulfide. It's a world-class project that deposit they have in their grasp there. It's the Nickel Shaw project. It's in the Yukon. And we're happy to be joined by the president and the CEO of Nickel Creek, Stuart Harshaw. Stuart's a seasoned mining executive. He has a successful international career with Vale and Inco, and most recently, he was VP of Ontario operations for Vale. He was responsible for the base metal operations in Ontario, which included 6 underground mines, a mill, a smelter, a nickel refinery, cobalt refinery, precious metal refinery, and hydroelectric production facilities. And you thought you were busy. Previously, he had various senior roles with Vale, including the marketing and sales of a broad range of metal concentrates and finished metals worldwide. Now, since leaving Vale, he's been consulting in the global mining industry and is a member of the board of directors of several mining companies, as well as Laurentian University in Sudbury, Canada. A true nickel expert, if ever there was one. Stuart, welcome to the Global Mining Symposium.
Excellent. I just want to make sure my sound is working. I haven't had a chance to test it. Good?
You are good. And we did hear
Excellent.
From one of our viewers that there is some type of solar thing going on. My goodness, I tell you, the luck we have sometimes. But we're getting through it. I can see you. I can hear you, Stuart. So Perfect. Let's pass it over to you and tell us all about Nickel Creek.
Excellent. I'll share my screen. Hopefully I can get through the and put in presentation mode. There. Okay, see that okay?
We do, Perfect. Stuart. Looks great.
Okay. Excellent. So Nickel Creek Platinum, thanks for having me here. It's exciting times for the metals industry in general, but also specifically for nickel, which is not something we always hear. Part of the growing green or clean industry that everybody's referring to. Cautionary statements. Just want to kind of put forward the normal cautionary statements that on this presentation. Just giving a bit of a summary of what Nickel Creek Platinum is. The Nickel Show project that we have has the Wellgreen deposit, and it is one of the largest undeveloped nickel copper sulfide with platinum group metals. Significant amount of nickel at 1.9 billion pounds. We got 1.1 billion pounds of contained copper, and almost 6 million ounces of troy ounces of gold, platinum, and palladium. So, when we talk about having a diversity, it's a very diverse ore body that's got some important metals for the green economy. So, looking at just the other things that really like to kind of put forward is strong support from the Kluane First Nation and the government in Canada's Yukon territory. It's a very mining-friendly region, and we really are looking forward to working with them for many, many years to come. In the Yukon, a lot of people don't know much about the Yukon. It's got great infrastructure. We're right close to road access, the Alaska Highway, and which brings us into ports. So from an infrastructure point of view, it's a low-cost jurisdiction for putting in the infrastructure for the mines. And really, environmentally, you touched on it, the nickel sulfide world. We've been talking about it for years. The actual sulfide deposits offer the opportunity for both not just class 1 nickel that can go into the EV market, but also they are much more sensitive from an ESG point of view, much more clean from a carbon point of view. So that's one of the things that we've been emphasizing as a nickel industry, especially in the what we would call the nickel sulfide space. We do have a large land package, 146 square kilometers in the Yukon, and we've got a really highly prospective 18-kilometer trend of mafic. So that's really, where the focus has been. And as a company goes, we're very solid long-term backing from institutional shareholders. that continue to support the project moving forward. So we've been talking a lot about nickel. I won't spend a lot of time on it. Everybody likes to hear about Elon Musk with his please mine more nickel. It's true though. I mean, really you need 50% more nickel by 2025 and 85% by 2030 based on, you know, a lot of the forecasts that are out there. You know, numbers have shown, you know, needing triple the amount of nickel by 2040 based on the growth rates of EV production. It's really critical to know that, you know, we've passed the point where this is a fad. I've been watching the nickel market for 30 years, and I would say that we've been talking about this opportunity for many years, and it's only been in the last 3 or 4 years that all of the major automakers are talking about it. All the major, you know, countries in Europe and North America are talking about electrifying their fleets of vehicles in cities. So this isn't a maybe. It's a yes, and I'm looking forward to the exciting time ahead. Really, just kind of positioning Nickel Creek. We've got it's a low grade deposit, less than 1% nickel. It's a large open pit with, you know, significant potential for 30 plus years of production. It's a lower carbon footprint, and it's located in North America, which from a mining jurisdiction is a lot lower risk than some of the other sources of nickel in the world, and definitely capable of producing battery grade nickel. Other thing that really differentiates the nickel show is that it's not just a nickel play. Based on some of the long-term prices, we're about 55% nickel by value. The actual numbers today are kind of trending down to maybe the 40-43% kind of area, and that's just because right now, if you're watching the news, the copper prices have definitely been shooting up well, and of course the PGMs, the platinum, palladium, and gold are at long-term highs, which really has shifted, I would say, almost 1/3 of the value contained within the ore body being from the platinum group metals. Very key component when looking long-term at any deposit. Being too focused on a single metal can create definitely issues in a cyclic type commodity cycles that we have. So definitely something that's positive for Nickel Show. And as you can see, we have M&I of about 323 million and about 108 million of inferred here. So significant amount of infill drilling done to define about 75% in that M&I category. Nickel Show, it's a district size. It's not just a single ore body. Talked about the size of the package. We've done some extensive geophysics. It's ground-based EM work was done in 2019 and 2020. And from that, we've really identified 11 potentially nickel sulfide mineralization. The focus being on the semi to massive nickel mineralization that we're looking for. Using some of the drill hole and surface sampling database that we have for the area, we've prioritized these targets, and we're very excited about the next steps in terms of what this offers for us, given that there's been very sparse drilling and very shallow drilling that has been done outside of the well green. The well green's had tremendous amount of drilling to define it. We're now looking outside of that. The other key piece here is we do have a Class 4 permit in place for the drilling, which is very key given the time constraints sometimes, to get those drill permits in place. And we are all set to go for many years of drilling. These 11 high priority drill targets that we're doing this summer, we're going to obviously do a field check of all the conductors while we're out there. And it's about 1,500 meters of helicopter support drill program. We are in the mountains of the Yukon. With our depth of holes are going to be 25 to 75 meters approximately. It's going to be about a 6-week program, and flow-through financing was raised for this program. So this is really kind of a snapshot at kind of where we're going this summer. I just want to kind of emphasize that the Nickel Creek platinum ore body on its own is an excellent ore body, the Wellgreen deposit that is going to get developed. What we're doing right now is taking the opportunity to look at the remainder of our package for other high mineralization targets to augment that deposit. So we're looking forward to moving forward with Nickel Creek.
Excellent stuff, Stuart. Thank you for this. Now, you know, this is a large scale project, to say the least, that you're on here. But you're looking about roughly 45% of the contained value is in metals other than nickel. Can you tell us more about those metals?
Yeah, absolutely. The key is for me, copper. Obviously, everybody likes to talk about copper. Nickel and copper come together on a regular basis. So for us, copper is a significant contributor, and it's actually in the order of about 15% of our contained value right now. The other piece that's really important is the PGMs, the platinum and palladium group metals. They're very concentrated in two countries, Russia and South Africa. Having a large deposit like this, which is 5.8 million contained ounces of the three, is exceptional. This is something that you don't come across in terms of the sheer volume of PGMs outside of South Africa, and there's many PGM projects that move forward with just PGMs at significantly lower grades than what we have within our project.
Excellent, excellent. And I mean, we touched upon the difference between the nickel laterites and the nickel sulfides and the lower carbon footprint. But from that, can you take us through your ESG strategy more fulsomely than that? How are you thinking about? I know exploration is a bit of a different thing, obviously, than someone that's in production, but still, you know, increasing importance even on explorers to be thinking about ESG.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in this world, you have to think about ESG at all times. It's not just for production. Every part of a drill program, you have to look at it. But actually preparing for development of a project, you have to put the environmental first and foremost in terms of getting all of the baselines done, which has been a big focus for us, is ensuring that we've got the baselines on, not just the water, but the wildlife and the other aspects required. The other key component of ESG, social, we very strong relations with the local community and the local First Nations, Kluane. And then governance. It's about having, you know, we're actually on the TSX, and we as opposed to the TSXV, which you will find most of the explorers, and we have a very strong governance board that's very focused on governance for the organization. The other kind of key piece, though, that you're seeing is the focus on carbon and carbon footprints within these lower grade deposits have the opportunity to sequester carbon in the tailings. And so that is one of the areas where we're focused on doing some work to prove out our carbon sequestration for the tailings coming off of the Wellgreen deposit, which will then let us then predict the carbon footprint of the future production. Again, very competitive against other sources of nickel in the world.
Excellent. Excellent. Very interesting dynamic to it all. Stuart, thank you so much for joining us. You're definitely onto something there with Harshaw. It's been a story that Nickel Creek Platinum that I've been following for a few years now. So really great that your experience now is there to guide the ship. And we wish you continued success through 2021.
Great. Well, thank you very much for the time.
Have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, you too. Cheers.
Cheers.